Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations, and today we are working on the little mushrooms for our fairy garden bird feeder that's like a mushroom gazebo. But anyways, let's go ahead and get the camera flipped around and get started. So the mushrooms that I'm making, I'm designing to go on the corners here over, where I have the wire attaching the pillars. But the technique used here is some of them are going to be laying flat. And so the techniques can be used on anything. And we're going to start by demonstrating how I made this part, which is like the bottom of this turkey tail-esque mushroom. And I'm following along with a tutorial. I'm following along with the instructions from the Making Polymer Clay Beads by Carol Blackburn. This book and all the tools and materials that I'm using here will be listed down in the video description. But for the instructions that she has for agate, now I'm not using the exact same blend of colors, but I am going through and using essentially the same technique. So, but I mean, can't you just picture that like on top of these mushrooms? Like that's gonna be perfect. So the core of what I'm working with is Cosclay Glow, sorry, words are hard, which is probably one of my favorite clays to use as a base for a project because it is so flexible. Now, something to keep in mind, it is very, very soft when I'm working with it. Now, I'm also working with raw sienna, and this was either chocolate or burnt umber for the darker brown, but you can use whatever colors you prefer. So here I have, this is just the raw sienna, and this is Sculpey Primo. It bakes at the same temperature, 275, 30 minutes per quarter inch, as what the Cosclay does. So they play really well together. So this one is just straight raw sienna. This one is 2/3 raw sienna with, no, I'm sorry, 2/3 glow clay, 1/3 raw sienna, and this is Sculpey brand glow for this one just because I'm using it up. And then this one that we're going to be mixing together is 2 parts chocolate. I'm going to go with chocolate, and 1 part glow clay. And then this one here is that same chocolate, but it has the glow clay. I was trying a Skinner blend, and then I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. So I think this one is going to be our core. So, and I'll be going over with you guys how to make a Skinner blend in this video as well. It's a super sloppy Skinner blend, but that's okay. So I wanted to give you guys a realistic impression of what to expect from Cosclay, because sometimes I'll get blocks of it that are just perfectly buttery smooth, no issues at all. And sometimes I'll get blocks like this one that are just a little crumbly, like a really sharp cheddar. So I'm going to come through with my tissue blade. I really like using a tissue blade for stuff like this because it has very little resistance against the clay, and you can kind of just squish on, slice on right through them. Slice, slice, slice. And you can see I'm getting some crumbling, but that's okay. And I shouldn't need to use more than that. And then I do have an acrylic roller here that normally I'll try to do this just with my bare hands, but I'm going to experiment today with just getting those particles compacted back together and just stacking them on top of each other. Now, my work surface that I'm working on right now is a piece of sample granite countertop that our local Lowe's was just gonna toss out, and we got the hookup. Somebody was like, we've got a person on the inside who was like, hey, do you want me to get this out of the trash for you? And I was like, yes, thank you. So that's how I was able to get this really nice granite slab. But I'm sure you can keep an eye out on your local, Facebook marketplace or anything like that to see if sometimes the sink cutouts from whenever people get stone countertops put in, sometimes the companies will just toss them out. So I mean, it might be worth making some phone calls and seeing if you can buy some trash off of somebody. And oftentimes if you offer to pay out the gate, folks will just give it to you for free. But don't quote me on that, because there's no telling. but I figure it's always, you never know unless you ask. So by stacking a few pieces and rolling them together, that certainly was a lot easier on my hands. So, hey all y'all watching this video. It may have been a while since we came and, sculpted and hung out together. We used to make a whole lot more fairy house videos here on the channel, and then I got really heavy into wire wrapping, and that kind of like our whole business was going in that direction. And now we're kind of shifting gears again, and I'm really excited to be back at this and hanging out with you guys. So I'm still figuring myself out. We've been making videos full time since 2016, and running our business, making jewelry and odd crafts and stuff since 2008. So I am really excited to be kind of coming back to what feels like my roots here on YouTube. But let me know how you're doing down in the comments if you're excited about getting into more sculpting projects. Have you ever sculpted anything before? If you were to try your first project, what would you want that to be? Because I may do some sculpt with me videos for, because I feel like I'm still pretty much a beginner myself. Now I'm just rolling it because it's fun. But yeah, since we did those early videos, I've had a hand injury. I'm recovered now, but I'm still trying to get my strength back, and I can't quite craft as 24/7 as what I used to. But that's okay. So we're going to roll this out. And I think this is going to be our core. And now I wanted to demonstrate possibly with this one. I don't know. I'm thinking. Let's read what the instructions say. Making the mixes. Divide a 2-ounce block of translucent clay into 4 1-inch balls. Roll caramel and copper for mixing. Ooh, yeah. We should see if we have a metallic one, you guys. Let's see. What do we have? Oh, I've got this nice pale copper. Yeah, okay. And then do we have some bronze? Oh, we do. See, I would have considered this a copper, but I guess it's considered a bronze. And I do have a loose bit sitting there in the thing. So, but I mean, wouldn't that just be so pretty on, whoop, where'd it go? Wouldn't that be so pretty on a turkey tail style? Or should I do the antique gold? Okay, well, it looks like, what colors do we have here? Okay, I decided we're going to read them together. So A is just straight translucent. So for me, I'm going to do that straight glow. Translucent with 1 ball of caramel. Oh, so they're just measuring it out by roll 6mm balls of caramel with copper for mixing. But how many? Translucent with 1 ball of caramel, translucent with 3 balls of caramel, translucent with 1 ball caramel and 1 ball copper, 1 part caramel to 1 part copper for E. Okay. Oh, I see. It shows you in the picture there. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I take the scenic route to where I'm going. Thickest setting, thin, medium thickness, and then roll a half sheet. Okay. I'll keep the recipe off to the side, and let's get a little bit more clay conditioned. I am going to have this video in real time, y'all, because hopefully future Vaughn will edit down a non-hangout version that is just like straight and to the point, and it's probably going to be a short. But you clicked on my face. Feel free to pop it into 2x speed if you just want to hang out and hear me talk like a chipmunk. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm just making videos to have fun at this point. I'm tired of trying to make an algorithm happy. I want to make crafty me happy. So here we are. So that copper, I really like using the acrylic roller and kind of just pressing, because the stone and the acrylic are much firmer than my hands, and so it's much easier on my hands to do it this way. Ooh, I had a little bit of glow on my blade, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to set that there. And you could use whatever sorts of colors that you like. We could have it be, gosh, some like cool magentas and lime greens, I think would look really cool with this glow clay. Now also, Cos Clay has not just a green glow clay, that's just what I'm using today, but they have a blue glow clay as well, and I love it. Oh, it's stunning. And the two of them look really cool marbled together. So that's always a good idea, I think. So now we're going to roll this out. But I like to do my videos in real time because I wanted to give you an idea of actually how much time goes into something like this. So oftentimes crafting projects like this for me are not a matter of skill, but a matter of endurance. So just getting through a project and having an expectation on how to pace myself can help me to not sit down to something thinking I'm going to get it done in an afternoon, but it's really going to take me 4 days. And then, you know, so I'll get discouraged and stuff. Whereas if I go in expecting it to take a week and it only takes 4 days, I'm like, well, hot dog, I got done pretty quick with that. And it's so just mitigating my expectations has helped me tremendously. Okay, so we've got that rolled out and prepped. How many colors? We have the core, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have the core, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3. I want to consider this a part of the core as well, just because I'm going to be blending those two in together. So we'll do the copper as 4. I hope that that'll be enough contrast. You know what? I'm going to put this little bit of copper in with these here, and we'll see what color that makes. So let me put some of my stuff away just to keep my work surface from getting too unruly. I'm going to move these just back here to hang out with that pile, because we're actually going to be breaking off a little bit of this because I will need to show you again how to sculpt our inner mushroom. Alrighty, so we're going to start with that copper, and we're just going to roll it out. That's so pretty. And now rolling that out. And I want this all just blended together. Ooh. Sorry, I am working on a rickety plastic 4-foot table underneath the granite slab, so sometimes if I get really into it, the table starts shaking and squeaking. But that's okay. I'm hoping to design a sculpting table that we can build out of like some lumber, like some 2x4s or something, with some nice sturdy 4x4 legs, like kind of like just a solid workbench, you know. Okay. So there's that. Whoop. Rolling that out as well. Now you could continue the whole process just rolling it out with the roller if you'd like it a nice even length. Oftentimes I'll see folks using like stacks of, I don't even know what that was, stacks of playing cards off to the sides on like either side underneath your roller. That way you can roll it down, or like rulers or popsicle sticks, or you know what have you. But if you, I do recommend, if you're pretty serious about clay and you're going to be doing quite a bit of it, the biggest quality of life upgrade is a hand cranking pasta machine. I personally use the one by Makins. This is not sponsored or anything. I just, of all the affordably priced pasta machines on the market, they are my favorite. And they have a motor attachment that very effectively just fits directly into the thing, into like where the crank handle goes. Oh, I forgot to add in our copper. So I'm going to get this rolled out to, if I could get it close to, what is this? Like an 1/8 of an inch, like a thick 1/8 of an inch. Then my pasta machine lasts longer when I'm not cramming dummy thick stuff through it. So this is my pasta machine. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And you can see it's got the little makings. Oh, I put that on upside down. Oh no. I had cleaned my pasta machine, and well, it's all right. It works upside down too though. So we're just going to crank that through, and then I'm going to fold this and roll this. Already, look at how pretty that is. Oh, I love it. Now I'm going to get this all blended together, but it's so fun to just go through the process of creating the clay. Oh, so I kind of want to cut down the side of it just to see. I've just sliced with my tissue blade. So already those layers are kind of lost in there, which is all right. Let me cut a different part to see. I just wanted to see if it would be like cutting it open and being able to see the individual. Now it's already pretty well incorporated, and that's all right. Maybe if I had used, wow, though it really shows on the edges. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's gorgeous. Like, again, it's so fun to get to go through and just experience the process. It's probably one of my favorite things. Now, I've folded the other way. If we were doing a Skinner blend, I would not do it like this. I would only be folding in one direction. But I just want to get this kind of homogenized. I think it can give really interesting results to not have it homogenized. But for this time, I'm going to try to follow the instructions. I mean, as close as what I possibly can, because that does not come naturally to me, y'all. And there we go. So that is 2 parts chocolate, 1 part glow, which I don't even think. Yeah, it doesn't really glow at all. Well, but it also softened it up quite a bit because that was a very stiff clay. And whenever I make a cane, I try to have all of my clays be a similar consistency, because if one clay is significantly stiffer than the other clay, which our Lacoste clay is quite soft. Like, I wish I could demonstrate to you. Like, I wish you could feel what my hands are feeling, because this is so easy to like squish. It's very kind of sticky. Do you see how my thumb, whoop, like it's sticking? Well, okay, just trust me. Trying to have them all about the same softness and stickiness is a really good idea. So I want to make the gills of the mushroom with you first. And so to do this, I'm going to cut off a bit. The bigger of a bit you cut off, the bigger your base mushroom is going to be. So here's this. It's about that sized, like a grape, like you know, grapes come in so many different sizes though. Where's a ruler? I don't know. It's this big, you guys. I'm gonna clean off my work surface. I'm actually gonna take all of these guys and kind of delaminate them from the ceramic tile. This is just a glazed 6-inch ceramic tile. I do recommend the glazed ones if you find yourself out shopping, because it helps, I find it helps stuff to not stick to it. It gives it a nice like glassy spot on the bottom, which if you don't want that, you could put it on a bit of paper or some cornstarch. But I like just popping them into the oven. So I'm going to start by just setting it on our work surface, and I am pinching just towards the edges, and I'm gonna lift up. And so this is the back, that if this were like, you could put magnets in this, y'all, too, if you wanted to make like a fridge magnet out of it, but you can kind of get the shape down like that. So we have the back side, and then I want to take this and press it down into that right angle between my tissue blade and our work surface. And so now you can see maybe a little better that shape. And so this is going to be where the gilling is, and this is where we're going to put that turkey tail top on. Now, again, I keep saying turkey tail, but that is like such a loose and generous way of describing this, because this is not at all based in reality. So let's get that right there. I'm actually going to do this on the tile. Maybe that'll be easier to see, though it may not be. We'll see. The 2 tools I have for this are an old craft knife, and this came from like a sculpting kit on Amazon that it was very affordable, deceptively affordable. I was afraid it was going to be very cheap, but it seems to be pretty good quality. So again, the part that's going face down onto the tile is going to be where I attach the colorful part that we're going to be working on next. So it's like the top of the mushroom. And so I don't have them radiating perfectly from the center, but they are kind of angled. And I just went through because this one's a little bit thicker and I like that it makes those thicker lines. So now I am going to come in and I'm just going to slice quite deeply as well. And I do like to kind of split some of the ends in half. So cut, 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 smoosh. And so already that's gotten, I mean, just so much character, I think. Trying to not fixate too much on making it perfect, because with this many multiple tiny details, the magic is going to happen in the final result. So it's almost like drawing fur. Nobody looks at, you know, each individual strand of hair. I mean, unless they're the one drawing it. But typically when you're watching it, it's just, or looking at it, observing the art after the fact, it's just the general impression, you know. So I'm just shooting for the general impression. And so now we've done that, and I'm just going to grab by the back and lift. And that gives it such a cool little, like little, just that lifting it at that angle gives it such a perfect round off. So I'm going to leave that like that, but we do have the option of, like, let's say we wanted to make a candle holder. And so let's pretend that this is a glass jar and not a tool rack. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to position it and bend it around. And then I'm going to take it off. And you can see how it opened up the frills and gills on that. And then we would just take this and I'm going to set it top side down on our tile. And that is how I would put that into the oven. Now, I think I'm just going to leave this one straight for attaching to the bird feeder. Sorry, I didn't mean to go out of frame. But I just wanted to show you that that's an option. And you can see I did that same thing, but on a sharp corner instead of something round. And then I'm going to show you potentially in another video. I'll certainly at least try to show you the end result, but I'm working on the fairy house, like the mushroom bird feeder, in my live streams currently. And so I'll try to get the end result of that and include it in this video. But if you'd like to see more fairy house stuff, currently at our time of recording, we do live streams every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, though our Saturdays are doing live lampwork glass smithing, I guess, working at our torch. But you can always check our website, backtoearthcreations.com, and down at the bottom of the homepage or somewhere on there, I think we're actually going to be redesigning the website again, but somewhere there on our homepage, we're going to have a calendar. We have a calendar of events that has an up-to-date schedule of all of our vending events, in-person meetups, you know, craft classes, tutorials, live streams, anything that we have going on is up on that calendar. So now we have our little core plug, which is about 3 inches long. And let's see, because A was the palest. And then, well, I did tell y'all we were going to do a Skinner blend, didn't I? Let me show you. This book has a really great, like, it's one of the first things that it teaches is how to make a Skinner blend. Yeah, so you can see the kind of concept, and then you fold it and roll it and you keep passing it through until the colors are mixed. So I thought I'd be doing more Skinner blend stuff in this project. So if you guys are really interested in seeing a video on that, though, let me know down in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Okay, so I'm passing this, that's our copper, through the pasta machine. I haven't conditioned this yet. Now, conditioning our clay is really important because, again, I do want to make sure that everything is the same consistency. And this is quite stiff. This copper, the bronze clay. And if it's stiff and our core is very gooey and soft, then the core is going to squish out the ends when we try to reduce the cane. So I'm actually going to cut off another little piece of our conditioned glow, and I'm just using it to soften up what we've got going on here. And this is like one of my lazy ways of doing Skinner blends sometimes is I'll just put a glob on there, and then if we take it and just keep folding it in half and then offset it a little bit every time. Y'all, I'm like such a heathen monster. And then if I want a little bit more, I'll just add in a little bit more on the end. So it is not a consistent gradient, but when I'm being lazy, let's see how it comes out. Because I'm going to end up getting this homogenized, but I did want to at least show y'all the sloppy lazy method. And you'll notice every time I'm passing this through, it gets a little wider. So what I like to do is I'll come through and just accordion bend this. Which makes, I mean, it just looks cool anyhow. And you can totally tell that this is a well-conditioned clay because I'm bending it and it's not doing any cracking. Which makes me pretty darn pleased. But yeah, so we can bend this down. There we go. And then we can just squish it out with our fingies. And now we can feed it back through. And now we can just keep that folding and rolling going. And I just want to see, yeah, it isn't really going to fade the clay very much, it seems. That's just kind of neat. Oop. But yeah, if you really want to get it to be nice, just lining it up with itself. Okay, so this isn't going to give us a very good Skinner blend, and I think it's because it's getting so overpowered by the pigment and the bronze. So now I'm just going to fold it, and we're going to get it homogenized this way. And I love for the bronze is a metallic clay, so it can get such cool little just details and stuff. And I have just as much fun with watching the polymer clay just get rolled out and conditioned as like doing paint pouring or, you know, resin art or a lot of these things that it's just so fun and satisfying to do. And there we go. And now, oh, it feels, it's actually taking a fingerprint as well as the other colors. So that pleases me. All right. So now I want to take this and have it be about, let's trim this one down. Because I may end up making another color just made from all the trimmed bits. But yeah, because I'm going to roll this in this, but I want to roll this out thinner. So I'm going to put it on our second setting on the pasta machine. And then we're going to feed it through. And now I'm going to put it on our third setting on the pasta machine. Because I'm just trying to get it to drag out that Skinner blend. Whoop. So see how it's stretching that color gradient? Let's put it on a number 4. And it's stiffer on this end and softer on the other, so I'm feeding it in stiff end first. Whoop! Oh no! Yes, this happens sometimes when it's very sticky. It would have been wise. Oh no, it's like stuck in there. Oh no. Uh-oh. Well, it'll be okay. It'll still be alright. If this happens a bunch, using like some cling wrap or something, I'm just gonna layer that like that and pretend like it didn't happen. And this is thin enough. So this will be fine. So what I should have been doing was having this between 2 pieces of cardstock and like cling wrap. Like cardstock on the outside, cling wrap on the layers on the inside with the clay in between it. Especially for when it's super sticky. So I'm just going to take this and I'm wrapping it around our glow center. And I'm just accepting that my ends are going to be rubbish, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to roll that up. roll it out just a little bit. Perfection. And yeah, I'm just gonna fold the end in. I probably could have waited on that, but it's okay. Getting that. So there's that one. And now, let's do the next color is our palest brown. So it's already on the thickest setting. So I'm passing it through. Let's pass it through enough that it'll go around at least once. And so I'm gonna roll it. There we go. And then you can feel where it like touches. And then I'm gonna give that a snip. And so now here we can get those ends kind of pinched and merged together. Let's see, now we'll be able to mix those together and we'll be able to get like a cool third color maybe. Oh, I was supposed to put on layers of paint. You know, this is just going to be what it is. That'll be okay. And so I'm running that through on a size 2. Let's run it through on a size 3. And I like to change up where my seams are. I don't always put them opposite of each other or like perfectly in like quadrants or, you know, anything like that. I just do whatever feels right at the time. And then squishing that together. Let's go ahead and do this one again. And I'm going to feed it through on the second setting. Nice. Ooh, let's do this one. Not on the second, on the third. Now let's do this one on the 4th. So for cane work and stuff like that, I really do prefer the Primo Sculpey, I think, but as opposed to Cosclay. But I really do like Cosclay for not just its glow element, though that is probably my top reason, but its flexibility. And I'll show y'all here in just a sec because I have some little super thin mushroom stems that I'm going to be using for like these wee bitty mushroom caps that I had made, which even these you can see the demonstrating. This is the Cosclay. I can just squish it. It's like a rubberized polymer clay, and I think that is so cool. Just because it enables me to do stuff that I just never been able to do before. I probably should have done more layers of... Let's put in another layer, y'all, of this glow in the dark. Because why not, really? Like, I can't think of a good reason not to, except for that it's more work, but I think I'll survive. Yeah, okay, so this is an example of me being impatient, but I can still just take it, and any of these crumbles, instead of them getting all stuck to my hand, they're just stuck to my work surface. But it's okay, because I can compact and compress them down. When they get stuck to the roller, I just re-stick them back to them themselves. There we go. Oop, getting little bits of clay everywhere. And then we can just come through with our tissue blade and kind of fold it back up on itself. There we are. And again, I'm a sloppy artist. I don't mind if there's bits and crumbs of other things. Not to be this way, but perfection gets in the way of creativity for me sometimes. Like, perfection is nice, and I think it's wonderful to strive for, but sometimes when I'm just trying to make something, perfection is for at the end of a project. I just want to get this made. So... because oftentimes perfection is just the meeting of my expectations. It's like, this is how I envisioned it in my head, and it came out and it matched that. That's perfect, which can be great. But more often than not, my favorite things happen whenever I just go with the flow and let it evolve into what it's going to be, and, you know, kind of get my ego out of the way. And, you know, it didn't have to be how I thought it would be perfect. You know, let's see what potential there is. you know, and I don't always get good results, but I certainly have fun. So I'll take it. There we go. And so it's don't let crumbly clay get you discouraged. Sometimes that just happens. Now I am going to make sure that I'm putting it through on the thickest setting, and I'm going to cross my fingers and wiggle my toes and hope that this doesn't get jammed up in my pasta machine. Oh yes, very lucky. Okay, let's try number 2. Oh, okay, and see, it starts to get really, really sticky. But I'm going to take it, and I'm going to set it on this. And I'm going to put it back on number 1. And so now both of these will go quite thin. Let's see how this works. So do you see how that went on there? And it's going to be real thin on the edge. And I'm going to clean up this edge, and I think you'll be able to see. So this is going to accomplish for us what that layer of paint would have. Maybe. I don't know, because I didn't do the paint. But it's what I imagine the layer of paint would have done. But now it glows. And I don't have to wait for paint to dry, which I consider an absolute win. So let's tidy those edges up. And now let's come in here on this side. And that has such a nice kind of gentle, uh-oh, is there enough? Oh, not quite. Okay, let's see if I can peel it back open. We're going to try to spread this out just a little bit. Just kind of smushing. There we go. Getting that tissue blade in under there. Peeling it up. Let's line that up. And I'm going to try to like stretch it a little. We'll see, that might have been enough. Woo! You know what? I'll take it. So there's that. And now let's mix together this stuff. Is that going to be enough? No, let's mix together all of these guys, which we might be able to get a really cool marble effect. By doing a little bit of like a folding and rolling. But I'm just using my fingers to like kind of press, and it leaves these little nubs, but it's helping it to roll out kind of nice and thin. And then we're going to twist by pushing away from us with one hand and towards us with the other. We may not necessarily use this for this right here, but it's a fun technique to learn. And again, it's so beautiful and just kind of fun to play with. And I want to see how big of a slab that this may. Oh my gosh, I love that. So I'm just going to fold and roll that back out. Let's see that kind of texture. It's just gorgeous. We could almost take this and just cut a layer, smush it out and shape it, and then just use that as the top of the mushroom. So keep that in mind as we move forward. And that's just how the inside looks. All those different colors meshing. They're not homogenized yet, but they'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Now, let's roll it through the pasta machine. Oh no, I thought I had hit record, but I hadn't. I'm sorry. But this is how, it only passed through once, so he definitely... Sorry, it looks like a little mouth, like... Okay, so we're going to fold it, and we're going to feed it through. Oh, again, I just love it. So let's see. I don't think this is going to be big enough like this to go around it. So I'm just going to reduce it now and pass it through because I do really like the pattern like this. And then passing that through. Let's see. Yeah, that should be enough to go around. You know what? It'll do. And I'm just gonna have that wrap all the way around like so. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this and let's just make sure we're getting good adhesion between all of our layers. And I'm gonna kind of just slam the end. There we go. And you can tell I'm not getting very good adhesion, so maybe if we roll into a little dumpling and then smack the dumpling. There we go. And maybe I could use, no, that's not quite stiff enough. Well, I think I'm just going to be using the back side of my tissue blade. Now be careful because these things are sharp, but I'm just going to take it and I'm applying most of the pressure with like my pinkies there on the handles, but I'm holding this upright. So we're just going to press that in and then close that up. And I'm going to roll a bit and we're going to take that and we are going to press that in quite deep. Turning it just a bit. And I don't want this to be perfect pie slice divisions, and I don't want them all to be the same depth. There's that. Coming around, and then we'll do a nice deep one. Whoop! There in the middle. And now I'm going to come in pretty shallow in between. I really hope that this gives a nice effect. And that I didn't do too many layers. Too thick, you know? Though I guess we'll see, huh? I may have needed something a little thicker than... Is this a sculpting tool? It is. Well, that's quite thin too, though. Let's see what happens when we use something thin. Maybe it gets us a different line style. Alright. So now I'm just going to kind of squish it just to reconnect everything. And I'm really excited. Let's see. I'm just going to cut down the middle. Oh, okay, that's pretty neat. That's okay. It's not perfect. You can see that little bit of drag that it had going on. I kind of feel like if we could find something thicker, like... Sorry, I don't know why I said thicker like that. Let's go get a butter knife. I found this ruler that is substantially thicker. I think we need something that's quite thick, because the idea is to shake the whole table. The idea is to not distort the thing. Get a really nice deep distortion. So see how that pushed it into, yes, that is what we want. Oh, fantastic. Whoop, down into the glow. And that's a little bit of an issue with the glow being so soft. But the obstacle is the way. There is no problem in crafting that is insurmountable. We are clever, crafty creatures. We can figure this out. Oh my gosh, though. Oh, that's so cool. So there's that. And then we're going to go like that. And then we're going to get this one a squish. Okay. So I don't want to go overboard. And I'm actually really glad that we split these in half, because now we can get two separate patterns. And we can reduce that. Let me see if we go like this and cut that one in half. We have some cool edging here. That's pretty neat. I can dig it. I can see why they wanted in the instructions in the book. I can understand why they wanted the layers of paint, because that would have given, way more layers going on in here. And I can understand why they wanted some of them reduced down to like setting 5 and setting 6, like the thinnest settings on the pasta machines. So I understand, but it is not the end of the world if you don't do those things. So now I'm going to take a look at this, and I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to do this end on that mushroom. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to slice, and it's going to distort it a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to kind of pinch the edge out some. And I'm going to cut this. And I also really like these tissue blades because you can curve them a bit. So I've trimmed off some of it. And again, keep in mind, these are our fantasy mushrooms, right? They don't have to be any way other than how we want them to be. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to squish it with my fingers out this way towards the gills. And so if you're following along with me, go ahead and cut yourself a little bit thicker of a slice than what you maybe think you need, just because we can stretch it out. There we go. And now from here we can go, well, that didn't give me the result that what I was hoping for. Maybe a porcupine quill may do the trick. Something with a nice little bit of drag to it as opposed to a cut. So I'm just pressing in and dragging back a little, and I want to squish that back out. And this is what's going to enable us to have each of our mushrooms be a little more unique from each other, even though we're using the same cane. And now from here, and I've not made these before. I probably should have tested it out, but I do like sharing the whole process with y'all. Yeah, so I'm trying different tools to see what I like. That was a super soft silicone tip. I kind of like just following and giving it almost the grain of like a slice of a log. I don't know how much that really does. Ooh, now that's an idea. What if we came through here on the middle first? Where is my little sculpting spatula? Rummage, rummage, rummage. Okay. So I'm going to come through here, starting in the center. And I just want to push in and maybe do a little bit of an undercut with that sculpting tool. Let's risk zooming in. And so now at our next layer, I'm going to come through and risk a little bit of an undercut. And I'm pressing down all the while. You may be able to see here on the side. See how it dips in underneath? And that'll hopefully give us a little bit of a look like that. And then we can come through and kind of push things in. Oh my goodness, I love that. Do not aim for perfect on the first layer. That's what refining stuff is for. Like, we'll go through and we'll do all sorts of layers on these. Though I have to remind myself, I don't want to get too hung up on the details on this one, because It's for the birds. I'm literally putting these on a bird feeder, so unless the birds are super picky, then that'll be what it is. But this is essentially, y'all, what I'm going to be doing for every single one of these little guys. So if you are interested in seeing the final result, be sure to subscribe, tickle all my like buttons, and you can sign up for our free newsletter at backtoearthcreations.com. If you have ever any questions, comments, or ideas, you can leave them down in the video. No, not in the video description, down in the comment area. Though there is a whole bunch of stuff. All the links to everything are down in the video description. The best way to support our channel is to just watch and enjoy yourselves, and hopefully we can be helpful to you. Get your craft on. Tag me on social media. Hashtag craftalongwithvon. Or you can just do at Back to Earth Creations. And, didn't mean to wander out of frame. Maybe we can get that one a little deeper. Just coming in there. And this is just another one of those inexpensive sculpting tools that you can kind of just almost sketch on the clay. Because don't forget, nobody's gonna know if you change it. Like if you're like, oh, I don't really like that, and you want to like smush or blend it out, do it. It's okay. And then we can come through here and just kind of rub down through the tips to just give it a little bit of a meshing. Now, I don't even feel like these super duper need painted, but let's see. I think I'm going to go through and make a whole bunch more of these off camera, y'all, and then learn a bit and share with you as I refine the technique and find what I extra like and maybe what I don't like. And we'll kind of get that figured out. But I think we'll be doing an acrylic wash perhaps on these afterwards, just to bring the gills out. So I'm gonna get working, get to busting, because I think I have like 20 some odd of these mushrooms to make, and I will meet y'all right back here through the magic of editing. So I did want to demonstrate to y'all how I go about reducing my canes. And what I mean by that is, okay, so we have some mushroom tops that are just massive, but we also have some that are teeny tiny. And I am hopeful to be able to use this cane. We're going to have a large, medium, and a small. And actually we might have 4 different sizes. Let's see. Because as I reduce this down, just squeezing from the center and pulling down, this is giving me way more mushroom tops than what I need. So they store perfectly in these drawers that I use. Like this one here, I don't even know how long ago I made this cane. Like I think it's like 3 or 4 years at this point, and it's not sticking to the plastic. It's not reacting in any sort of negative way. Like we've got this little cane here from like, I mean, literal ages ago, y'all. And that's how I store them, just in these like auto, like garage parts containers from like, it's from like the tool section. So it's not, it doesn't have that crafting markup on it, which is really nice. But I'll just be storing them in there, or I may be storing them in cling wrap inside of a larger drawer if they're like this guy and a little too hefty to fit in there. And so I'm just pinching from the center and kind of pulling. So pinch, pinch, pinch. And as I pinch, I'm doing a little bit of a tugging motion, like I'm massaging it out, which is fun. Actually, like it's a lot of fun. It's, if you've ever done any sort of bread baking or anything like that, it's very similar. So we're going to cut that down the middle, and oh, just look at that. That's so cute. So I think, yeah, I think I'm pretty good on the sizes there. We could reduce this down even farther, but let's do one of these teeny tiny guys together. So to do that, I don't feel the need to reduce the entire cane. I'm just going to snip off or slice off a little bit more. And then if we try rolling, and this is an example of, I'm so pleased that we didn't go overboard with, we didn't miss our mark on mixing all these different colors of clay. They all ended up more or less the same consistency, but you can see back here how like the ends kind of blown out, and that's because if I squeeze it, if they weren't all the same consistency, it would just be like an eclair, just shooting out the ends. So I've reduced that just a little farther. If you want things to stay very stiff and firm, pop it into the freezer, but I'm living for that distortion and that kind of unique character that comes with each of these. And so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut it in half. And then we're going to set that on there. But you can see I cut quite thick. So we can take this and we can smush it towards the back, and that's going to give us a nice little bit of distortion on our pattern in the cane. And then I'm finding what I enjoy to do best is to set this porcupine quill, because it has that kind of keratin flex and dragginess on the clay. So I'm just taking it, and I'm not pressing in super hard, but I'm just dragging it towards the back because I just want it to rake the surface. And so there's the surface of our little mushroom. I'm going to scrape off that excess, and I always stack up all of my extra clay. Waste not, want not. This stuff, like, even if it's an ugly color that you don't like, or if it's got a bunch of dog fur and other stuff in it, so long as that stuff is bakeable, you can use that as the center of other projects. And so from here, I'm going to come through. We may use the craft knife on this one just to have it be very, very petite. Let's try to make sure that we're in frame and in focus, which is an elusive combination. So I'm just getting that slice underneath and then kind of pressing with the flat side of my blade. And I'm going to do 2 layers like that. And what this is going to accomplish for us is now I can come in with that porcupine quill again. You could also use like a T-pin, all sorts of stuff, y'all. Do not let not having the same tools as what I'm using be what stops you from getting into sculpting. So I'm just trying to get underneath that little flappy part and to drag out some little lines. And then we're just going to scratch some little lines in it that way. And then dragging this down. And there we are with our wee bitty little turkey tail mushroom. Fantasy edition. Alrighty, y'all, so we have our turkey tail mushrooms made. I have hot glued them to the base, the red cedar of our bird feeder, just to keep it in place. Now, I'm rolling out a product called Epoxy Sculpt by Aviz. This is one of the halves of the containers. And it's a modeling compound, and it's excellent for adhering, it's excellent for sculpting, it holds up really, really well outdoors. And so I'm pretty pleased with it in the past, so I'm excited to use it for this project. But I didn't really think ahead, and I mixed up a massive batch of it, using up the rest of what was in like a container. So I'm coming through and I'm just rolling it out into little snakes. and then using that to pack in around and just a little on top of. Like, I like to come around to like the front edge of our piece, or our pieces. Let's see if zooming in a little might be helpful. Now, also, unlike the freeform air that sticks to stuff like a lot, the epoxy sculpt is very tool friendly. Like, it's not sticking to the metal really. And so I can use the tip of my tools to make sure it's pressed into areas. And I'm going to continue just getting this down because, and it says on the packaging, on one half of the packaging, there we go, it has, for the first 30 minutes, it's sticky and most adhesive. For 1 to 2 hours, it's easy to work with. For 2 to 3 hours, it's setting up and you can still form details on it. But after 24 hours, it's hard cured and waterproof, which is good to know. But I have overmixed it and I need it to stay sticky, so I'm hurrying. We worked on a whole lot of this project, this like fairy garden bird feeder, in our Kick live stream today, and I'm working currently at the time of recording right after that Kick stream. And I just want to thank everybody, if you're watching this, everybody who's there hanging out with us in Kick. Thank you guys so much. We had such an amazing time getting to hang out and laugh and just have fun crafting, and it was really nice. So thank you all for being a part of that. So otherwise it's just me giggling at myself in the tickling myself in the craft room. So again, just kind of poking that up and in. I'm going to put it back into time-lapse, perhaps. I don't know in the final edit of this if we're going to be doing a whole bunch of time-lapse with voiceover or what. So, but I will meet you guys back here for the next step. Hey y'all, Future Vaughn here. If you'd like to see how we evolve this little lumpy mushroom burb cafe and how this piece comes out, be sure to subscribe to the channel and sign up for our free newsletter at backtoearthcreations.com, because we'll be sending out a weekly recap so that you can see the live streams and everything kind of condensed into one area. We still have quite a bit of work to do here on this bird feeder, but I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. And now here, I will have linked down in the video description where it links to the mica pigments, and like they're like nail powders, but that I use on the epoxy sculpt. The biggest thing I learned with the epoxy sculpt, or was reminded of, because I knew this to be the case, but I mixed up a giant glob of it anyways. It really behooves me to, like, it's a good idea, y'all, to just mix a little, use it, and then mix a little more, and then use it, and then mix a little more, and use that. Because by the time I got to doing the last, attachments of the turkey tails, it was a pain to work with. Like, I had to press really hard to get it to go in, because it was at the end of its pot life, because I'd mixed up a giant glob of it. So hopefully I will learn. If not, hopefully y'all will learn and, be able to avoid that pitfall that I have consistently run into on almost every project for the past decade. But that being said, I do want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me during this video. Please leave any questions, comments, and ideas that you have down below. There's links to all of our different social media and everything like that if you want to connect with us. And so until next time, you guys, thank you so much for being here, and happy crafting. Mwah! Bye.